Mitch Hooper is on the cusp of a perfect year in Strongman. Since he got beat at World's Strongest Man last year, he's gone on to win every single show he's done. But he wants that World's Strongest Man title back, and he needs it to really put himself in the names of the other greats of the sport. We've seen other guys that have had perfect years, and we're going to take a look at some of the results that Mitch has done and some of the top athletes in the past. So a little different video today. You kind of came up with this idea.
Well, it's just based off of conversations that I've been seeing online. So I've seen a lot of people say, you know, it's boring when the same person wins all the time. And I thought, how many times have we seen it in the sport of strongman? A true mogging.
So you went in with your investigations?
Of course, yeah. I didn't look at absolutely everyone. I looked at the obvious names. And in the more modern area where we've got better records of competitions.
And more competitions.
Yeah, it's certainly more majors at least. Personal opinion though, I don't mind the occasional mogging. I think it's quite exciting, like Thor in 2018.
Yeah, I think in any sport, when you see greatness and someone that's consistently winning, it is exciting. It also, as fans, you're waiting for them to lose as well. Like, I'm a big arm wrestling fan. There's a guy called Levan Sagnashvili. The guy is on an absolute tear of a winning streak. He's a really nice guy. But everyone gets to the point of wanting him to lose because you want to see who can beat him almost. And I think Mitch is in that kind of realm now where people meet him and they like him, but you almost want him to get beat.
You certainly want him strongly challenged in the very least, which we are starting to see more of.
You know, Arnold's was a great competition, and the other athletes, and you see this across sports. When an athlete raises the level, the others catch up, and we've seen it in Strongman in the past, and you've put together a pretty comprehensive list here of people that have pushed that level on and forced everyone else to just get better.
Yeah. So before we look at the other athletes that have managed a true mogging, shall we look at Mitch's year since he came second at the World's Strongest Man last year? So since coming second to Tom at Worlds last year, he then went on to win the Giants Live Strongman Classic in July. He then won the Strongest Man on Earth in August. He then won the Giants Live World Open in September. Then he won the Giants Live USA Championships also in September. He won the Giants Live World Tour Finals in October. He won the Rogue Invitational in November. And he's just won the Arnold Strongman Classic in March. So he's on a current winning streak of 7, which isn't, it's not close to the longest streaks that we've seen.
No.
But I think in a time of the sport where we've got so much depth of talent, like the excitement of having Thor back and all of that going on, him actually not even being the reigning World's Strongest Man champion, that's Tom Stoltman.
Yes.
I think it's very impressive.
Super impressive. Just what he's managed to do, you know, when you compare him to some of the other greats, the speed that he's done it is what's probably blown everyone out of the water. His ability to be so good, so fast is shocking. I do have a bit of a theory. I think, honestly, I think COVID was the reason we didn't see him sooner.
Yeah.
I think if we didn't have that block in terms of travel and competition, we would have seen Mitch at high-level competition sooner than we did. So he's almost been allowed to develop quietly behind the scenes, and then suddenly he's been, you know, great. And since that first Worlds that he did, he's been unbelievable. But he is doing incredible things, and it's exciting to see when an athlete raises the level. Everyone else is trying to catch up, but it isn't the first time we've seen this. And sometimes the fans forget that. Yeah. They're like, oh, you know, it's boring. It's not boring. We've had dominant performances from Thor. We've had Brian Shaw. We've had Mariusz Pudzianowski. We've had Zydrunas. Yeah. And it forces other athletes to think, I'm going to challenge this guy. And they do. We saw those rivalries with different athletes. Derek Poundstone came into that mix. Brian and Thor just pushed each other to crazy levels. Then we saw Eddie Hall come into the mix, Mike Jenkins. There's people that are always kind of coming in there that challenge people. And Mitch is seeing that now. Obviously, Tom Stoltman. But Lucas Hatton, he is becoming a superstar now. And the fact that Mitch is so good just makes Lucas better. Thor trying to get back to that level. Trey Mitchell, Evan Singleton, all these guys trying to get to that guy. Yeah, it's great to see, and it just pushes the sport on and on.
So we've mentioned him already, but Thor Bjornsson had a perfect almost 2 years in strongman competition. And it all started, again, when he didn't win the World's Strongest Man in 2017. He lost to Eddie Hall. We all know how that went. But after that, he then went on and won Iceland's Strongest Man. He won Festival de Hummus. I never know if I'm saying that correctly. He won the 2018 Arnold's. He won the 2018 Europes. He won the 2018 World's Strongest Man, the 2018 Iceland's, the 2018 2018 was Dubai, the 2019 Arnold's, the 2019 Europes, and then he didn't win Worlds that year. Do you remember he injured his foot?
Yes.
Martin's Lissis one.
Yeah, again, a great dominant streak.
Yeah, 9 wins.
And a lot of people have spoken about Thor in that period as being the best of all time.
Yeah.
Who else has had an incredible streak?
I don't think any of these names are a huge surprise. Brian Shaw obviously has had a great streak. He had a really good year and a half, a perfect year and a half, if you like, which started in July 2014 and ended in January 2016. And in that time, he won the World's Strongest Man, the Arnold's Australia, Giants Live competitions, and North America's Strongest Man. He had 8 wins in total there.
Brian, very methodical in the comps that he did. Not one to compete as much as some other people.
No.
But yeah, an absolute beast at his best.
I think that's what makes... I mean, Mitch, I guess, isn't doing absolutely every single competition that he could potentially do. He hasn't done Canadian competitions and he hasn't done North America's Strongest Man. But to be fair... with the time, he's been incredibly active. It's not like he's being that choosy, is it?
I mean, we talk about these days we have 4 majors.
Yeah.
You know, before the Arnolds came along, there was only really World's Strongest Man that was a major. Then the Arnolds became a major, and now we have 4 that we class as majors with Rogue and the Strongest Man on Earth, which is great for the athletes.
Yeah, it's great.
And hopefully these competitions keep going into the future, and we can get more records of the sport being built up.
Now, Mariusz Pudzianowski, I wasn't actually sure I was going to find a perfect year for him. Yeah, I know. As crazy as that sounds.
I guess the Arnolds messed him up quite a bit.
Arnolds kept letting him down, yeah. So, and there was always like, you know, first, a second or a third. So, but I did find a great 1 year and 5 months for him, which was actually right towards the end of his career. So that ran from February 2008 to July 2009. And in that time, he won Europe's Strongest Man both years. He won the World's Strongest Man and he won Globe's Strongest Man. And that was 8 wins in a row.
Mariusz was a very active strongman. He did a lot of competitions. So, you know, absolutely dominant. But it was often Arnold's, which was the show that just put a break on his winning streaks.
Yeah, it was. It just was not the competition.
Was it 4th the best he did there?
Something like that. He never managed to get onto the podium. It wasn't his competition. He was very suited to the fast-paced Grand Prix style.
He'd be great at this year's
World's
Europes.
Strongest Man. Oh, he'd love this year's Europes. Yeah, and he'd love Worlds in the current format, I'm sure.
So the final man, I'm sure most of our regular viewers can guess who this is going to be.
This man is at the top of every damn list, and this is why he is the GOAT. And I don't think it's even close.
It's not even close, is it?
It's not close. So
I'm just looking at these notes that you've got down here, and this is ridiculous.
I stopped writing details because there was too many details. So Zydrunas has had perfect years 5 times. and just the amount of wins in these times as well. So from March 2005 until April 2006, he won every single competition he did, which was 9 wins. From May 2006 to July 2007, he won every comp. That was 8 wins. From September 2008 to February 2010, every competition, 9 wins. From March 2010 to March 2011, he had 10 wins. He won every show.
This last one's ridiculous.
These wins include World's Strongest Man, Arnold Strongman Classic. Zydrunas did not shy away from a single competition that he was eligible to do. The last streak, though, goes from March 2012 to July 2013. So it's just 1 year and a few months. 17 wins. 17 wins.
So Mitch needs another 10 just to equal it.
Just to equal it, he'd need another 10.
There you go,
and
Mitch. That is your motivation.
We'd have to do Canada's, North America. He'd have to do more. He'd have to do a couple of Strongman Champions Leagues because Zydrunas just competed week in, week out at some points.
Yeah, I mean, and some people will say, you know, the standard in those shows wasn't top. What you got to remember is Zydrunas didn't shy away from comps. Didn't matter what the events were in a comp. Half the time he didn't even train for the events.
No, he didn't. He just turned up and he was good enough
that adaptable, that good. You know, how many people could honestly say they could do that? They didn't care what the events were. Like, I know I could do well in a competition if you put my best events in it. I'm sure there's other strongmen watching this be like, if I put my favourite events in, you can do well.
Yeah.
But to go to competition after competition after competition, you're just going to have to deal with what events are in there.
Different organisers, different equipment, different places in the world, all of the travel involved. I mean, when I met you, we were in that midst of Zydrunas mogging everything.
Oh, I know. I was lucky enough to be competing against him.
I know.
I broke a world record that lasted all of 5 minutes.
I know. Broke a couple that Brian took another break.
No, we shared. We shared.
Thankfully, nothing tied that day. There we go.
I mean, Zydrunas, that is unbelievable.
And this is why we call him the GOAT, because everything he was winning in that time, IFSA World Championships, the world's strongest man once he was back there, the Arnold Strongman Classic he won 8 times. It's just, Fortissimus. He's just such a decorated strongman in terms of everything he achieved, all of the records, and just the absolute mogging that he put everyone through.
There we go, guys. Athletes with perfect years in the sport. Can Mitch Hooper do the, well, it's not impossible, but do the incredible and win World's Strongest Man? That will be 8 in a row?
Yeah, that would be 8 in a row. And it will be, I don't know what his podium streak right now is, but we do know that only
23?
The only time he wasn't on a podium was his first international World's Strongest Man, 22. So, yeah, he's doing pretty well.
He's training hard for it. He is motivated. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let us know if you'd like to see more of these types of videos. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you guys next time.